Hey, it's Amanda. Today we're going to be discussing a basic integer array inside of C++. So if you know what this is, it's not going to benefit you. However, if you don't know what arrays are, this is going to go in more in depth than my previous video. As you can see, we declared a const variable named size, which is assigned 10, and then we declared an integer array with using our const variable size as its size, which contains its elements. And as you can see, we gave each of those elements a number. So I assigned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it's inside of the curly braces, as you can see. As we come down to my for loop, I started out with my integer I variable, which is assigned 0, and I is less than size. This keeps the array from going out of bounds, just so you know. It's always this less than, not the less than or equal to, just the less than. And then I went ahead and displayed, and instead of having the increment operator up here, you can also declare the increment operator down here, and this is what I want to show you. And I'm going to go ahead and run my program. So as you can see, it displays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because we have my endl in here, and then it has a space after because I have another endl right here. When it comes to declaring an array, so as you can see that you do need a size when it comes to a static or a fixed array, and then you would follow it by its declaration of the array itself. However, as you notice, you need these curly brackets in order to create the array, and you need to assign each element inside of the array. If you assigned 1, 3, 4, and then you left out any of the rest of the elements, then it would automatically assign them zeros. However, if you tried to do 1 and then left it empty with nothing there, even though you had a comma, and then tried to fill it again, that wouldn't work. It would result in an error. So each of the elements need to be filled when dealing with a static or fixed array, and it needs to be initialized with curly brackets. However, you don't need the assignment operator to initialize the array. That's optional in this case. So let's go ahead and restart the program. First, I'm going to start with my constant variable. I'm going to name it size. In this case, I'm going to give it 5 elements. So I'm going to declare my array first. So since it's going to be an integer array, I'm going to declare an integer data type. For the name, I'm going to decide, oh no, look, I can't use int because it's a keyword. However, I can use int array. When you're declaring an array, you need brackets. So as you can see, I can declare my array if I went ahead and assigned numbers inside each of the elements inside of the array. I don't need to indicate what the size is. However, to keep my program consistent and make sure that it doesn't get changed at any point in time, I'm going to go ahead and include my const variable. So in order to display what I just created, I'm going to create my I variable and assign it 0. I is less than the size. This will allow my array to not go out of bounds, which is very important because C++ doesn't guarantee that coverage. That coverage is on you as a programmer. So to display my array, I'm going to do int array, and my brackets allow me to access the index. So brackets allow you to create an array. However, they also allow you to access and index an array. So in this case, I have my integer array with my brackets. and my I variable. And right now, this wouldn't do what I wanted it to do because it's not doing anything. However, in order for it to go through the loop completely, I would need to increment it. So now I have my increment or my prefix notation and increment through my I variable, as you can see here. And I left out my semicolon. That's why it's yelling at me. And that is a syntax error. So now as we run the program, it's going to display 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, I cleared that. And we get 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so let's go into the foundation of the array now. As I described it in my previous video, I'm going to go over it again. Arrays can only contain one data type. So because we created an integer array, that means that it can only contain integers. It can't create any or can't contain any other values. So as you can see, so I changed that value to 4.40. This is where you better know your program very well because this is going to break. It's not going to just cut off the 0.40. It's going to actually break the program. So as you can see, I still have 4.40, which is like, oh yeah, hey, your program didn't break. Let's try to give that a different number now. So I'm going to change it to 6, so it should display 13656. So I'll go ahead and clear my program again. I'll rerun it. As you can see, the numbers changed here. And I get 13456. It didn't change the value, however, it's saved in my program as a different number now. And there's really no point you do that in the first place, but just so you can see that it only stores one type of data type, I just use that as an example. So I'm going to change it back to 13456 as it is in memory right now. However, I could change it if I wanted to. Now going to how it works in memory. In my previous video, I explained it, but I'm going to go ahead and explain it again. So when it comes to static arrays, you're going to know the size, or fixed arrays, you're going to know the size of the array. So in this case, we declared an array of 5 elements, which contains 5 elements. We assigned the first element 1, the second element 3, the third element 4, the fourth element 5, and the fifth element 6, as you can see. So let's see what it looks like in memory. I talked about it a little bit previously. So in this case, we're going to have 5 separate boxes for each element. And our elements are going to be what we consider the values that are assigned inside of the array. So in this case, we have 5 elements and they're assigned 5 different numbers. So the numbers being 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. However, I didn't say this in my last video, which was my for loop video, that arrays are in sequential order. So that means that although I did say they started at 0, they're always going to start at 0. And so that means that they're going to be in order. So it was from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the last video, I had the same amount. So it contained 5 elements. It's always going to be, the size will be 5 minus 1, which is where we get 4. If we were trying to access, let's say we were trying to access element 3, which is 5, we wouldn't think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that would be wrong. We would think 1, or sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it would be there, there, and there. Because that was a little bit confusing, so I'm sorry about that. So again, as you can see, we have our const variable. That just makes sure that our program stays consistent. It allows it to not change. The only way you can change this variable is through this constant. Next, we declare your integer variable using the integer data type followed by the name and allowing it to have its size, which is going to contain 5 elements, which is where we get 5 here. However, since it starts at 0, in order to access our elements, it's a little bit different. So we're going to use our integer array. And in this case, we use our brackets to create the integer array. And in order to access array elements, you have to create the array first. So if the array hasn't been created, then obviously you're not going to be able to access its elements. It's pretty clear. However, if you've already declared an integer array or any type of array appropriately, then we have access to its elements. So in this case, its name is int array. So I have int array. And because I already declared it and I assigned each of the values inside of the array, if I wanted to change one, so let's say again, we wanted to change the value of 5 at index 3. So index 3, I'm going to change the value to, let's change it to 7. Don't forget your semicolon. Let's go back to the program. Let's go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go ahead and assign it 7. Now let's see what the program runs. It should match what we just said. And that would be 13476. Yep, 13476, as you can see here. As always, I created some terms for you to look up. I didn't really add much. However, I suggest that you look into arrays if you haven't already. If you don't know what the index in the array is or how many values are inside of an array, that's very important. And also constant variables and naming variables correctly inside of C++. Going back to my example, so what I said previously, so this is what we would consider a partially filled array. And then when I go to display it now, it's going to display zeros, as I said previously. See, as you can see, I displayed zeros. Now, if I tried to take out the 3 and did the 4 and then did the 7, as you can see, I get a squiggly line here. It's going to tell me no. It's going to be like, no, you can't do that. And as you can see, I got my error. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe, share, and I hope that this gave you a better understanding on arrays. I plan on doing more videos about arrays. I'll probably do quite a bit, or as many as I can, because I like them. So if you have any questions, feel free. Thanks again. I hope everybody has a great day.